If you guys can hear me, put a yes in the comments. Happy Wednesday, everybody. If you can, I'm not sure if anybody can see or hear me, so just let me know. Okay, this is not, there's something coming up here that should not. Uh-oh, okay. I put something that's going live is going haywire. So, yes, you can hear me. Okay, great, great. Okay, there is Taylor. Let me add you, Taylor. So some strange comments are coming up on because I forgot to change the settings in Live Producer from like 2 months ago. So,
Oh, yeah, it happens.
okay, I can't hear you. Let me see if your mic.
Let's see. My mic seems to be on.
Oh, there we go. Wait, can you say something, Taylor? So I can.
I'm here.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, okay, great, wonderful. So welcome everybody. We're so excited to be here today. I'm gonna try to fix that so the weird comments are not going to come up on the Facebook Live while we're talking.
Yeah.
So So we're really happy. I see a lot of people here. We've got Matea, Michelle, Lai, Connie.
Hey, Connie.
And I'm going to just go over there and just shut that auto commenting. So tell us, everybody, where you're from in the comments.
Yeah, we want to hear. I see we've got Connie on. So Connie, happy belated Mardi Gras, right? That was yesterday, huh? Hey, Lee, how are you? Where are you tuning in from? Hey, Carol in New York. Carol just got off another session with us a few minutes ago. We are just moving and shaking here. How's everybody doing? Oh, we got Croatia here. Oh, you're from Croatia, but you're in Spain. How nice. I think we've spoken, Matea. Yeah.
Great. Yes. So excited to talk to everybody. I'm just going to, Taylor, if you want to just chat with everybody for a minute while I just fix this one issue here, and then we'll be good.
And I'm going to pop something over and let people in our Facebook groups know that we're live.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay.
Go ahead and do that. But yeah, how's everybody doing? So really excited. We'll get into all the details about this in just a few minutes, but letting people have a chance to get into the room. But how many of you are really excited about the idea of hosting an event of your own, whether it be an in-person event and you're going to have people come, or a retreat or something like this? How many of you are interested in that?
Okay. And I'm curious how many people, what we're talking about today is borrowing other people's events as well.
Yeah. And that's the whole point. It's so much easier to borrow other people's events than it is to host your own event. Let's see. So how many people have already used the method or the strategy of borrowing events before? How many of you have done that? Let's see. Yeah. Okay. I see some comments here. So some of you have done it. Some of you want to get started doing it, right? Absolutely. So today's session is really going to teach you how you can do this using other people's events. And so there's a lot for us to get into here. But one of the things that I think is just so awesome, I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this. There was this point where everything was on social media, right? So after the pandemic, there were masterminds that used to be meeting in person, and then they were happening online. And every time you get an email from, your favorite guru, it's probably for something online, right? You guys see that. And what we notice from this is that people don't, they don't get to connect in the ways that they used to. And so one of the things that I find is so interesting is that when you have a live event, you're able to connect with people in a really unique way. And you're able to come together with them, and you're able to start making moves, right? People are able to connect, they're able to collaborate, they're able to decide about joining your mastermind or whatever your events are. They're quickly able to make decisions, because when you can connect and collaborate and come together, things happen at a much faster pace. But the biggest problem is that you now have to host an event, and you have to get the tickets to the event sold, and you have to now posture yourself so that you can, get all the fixings for the event. You've got to get the venue. You've got to do all this stuff. That's so much work. So one of the easiest ways to move forward is to say, oh my gosh, why don't I borrow an event that's already happening, and from there be able to move people right to that event? And so that makes a lot of sense, right? So that becomes what we're going to be talking about today. So Christina and I together have a really nice large following. And what's so cool about the following is that we've got an event that's coming up. And we're going to talk to you guys about how you could possibly borrow that event so that you can now use it to promote your own business and the things that you've got going on, right, Christina?
Yes, yes. And I'm going to bring up some slides for everybody, and I'm going to just share this also. Almost done with this. Sorry for this little confusion here with this live producer. If anybody ever used live producer, it's a pain in the neck, right, to go live in groups and everything. So I'm just going to do this over here into the group as well. This way everybody can see it there. And then I'm going to pull up the slides. So let me put this here, and we're going to be good. Okay, we should be good in 1 second. I'm just going to do it this way. Okay, so let me get back over to where you guys are, and I'm going to pull up some slides here so we can show you what exactly we're talking about. Okay, so let me pull this here.
Who here actually has an offer? How many of you have an offer right now that you'd love to sell? You might have a group program, you might have an event coming up. Tell us in the chat, do you have something that you'd like to be able to sell? Okay, so I think that's the first start, right? So I see people saying me. So then that becomes interesting. Okay, great. Well, so we'll talk to you about how you can actually sell more of your offer by virtue of borrowing an event. Okay. And it doesn't matter if you've got a high ticket offer or a mid ticket offer. And the other thing that doesn't matter is it doesn't matter if you sold it before or not. If you've got something that you want to take to market or you want more people to buy, then you're in the right place to listen to us and learn how you can do this.
Yes, because this is probably your quickest path by borrowing someone else's audience, to grow your own audience, to get new clients and get new leads. So let me go here, and we're going to just show you some more on here. See if I can move these. Absolutely. There we go. There we go. So the real problem is most founders think visibility, right, requires you putting out like tons of content. Who here is like so overwhelmed and tired with having to like post 1 million times a day? Like, especially with Facebook, the latest thing is like you should be posting 10, 15 times a day. Like, who has time for that, right? It's the more you post, supposedly the more visibility you're going to get. But the real problem is they think that you need to have this visibility, that you need more followers, that you need to keep creating all of these freebies, right? Can anybody relate to this, right? And you just got to show up everywhere, and it's exhausting. But a lot of that still doesn't translate into you actually getting the client. Can anybody relate to that, right? It's like you do all these things, you're like spinning on wheels and stuff too, and you're just trying to get attention in a very crowded space that is right now completely, flooded with content and information. So that makes it difficult. So There are other ways, and like we were talking about before, that you can, get out there and people are saying this is the things that you need to do, right? A lot of you
Mhm.
probably are, like we asked before, if you're doing events, hosting summits, right? You
Right.
have to do that. You got to run all the promos, right? You got to pray that people show up, right? Right, Taylor?
Right. That's the whole thing. And that's the hard part, right? So now you're not just able to deliver on your expertise, now you're an event planner, right? And so
Oh yeah.
that's sometimes not the fun part.
It's not. And like the I would say that I've been doing events forever, and I'll say events are like the hardest thing to do. It's like the most stressful. Yeah, they're fun, but it is a
A lot
lot of
that goes
work.
into it.
Oh my gosh,
Absolutely.
there's so many details that go into it. I always say it's not for the faint-hearted because especially everything that will go wrong usually does, and it's just one of those things, right?
Oh,
So it's expensive, it's exhausting, and you don't know if you're going to actually even have, a return on investment at the end of the day. So
right.
these are some of the myths, right? So you think you're going to be visible, you're going to get the stage once you're bigger, and the stage is what makes you look bigger, right? That's the reality. What are your thoughts on this, Taylor?
Yeah. So, it's interesting. The idea is that you've got to get bigger, right? And then everything happens. But it doesn't work like that at all. First, you have to get in a place that allows you to be more visible. Now, I work with entrepreneurs, thousands of them, new entrepreneurs every single month. As I was saying, I just finished doing a big teaching. We had about 216 people in the room. We were doing a teaching there. And one of the points that I was really honing in on is the fact that everybody's kind of waiting to arrive. But your time is now. You don't have to wait until you get bigger, until you grow a bigger following, until this, until that. And that's why it never comes. But what you have to do is put yourself in a position where you are on a platform that's already big, that already has an audience, that already has people bigger than you. And you get on that platform and you stand there, and suddenly your business, and most importantly, your authority is elevated, which naturally allows your business to grow. That's how it starts. But it's not going to happen the other way around, which is why the big people stay big and the small people, you see them every year still posting about starting their mastermind or trying to fill their event or trying to sell this. And they don't have big jumps because they're not doing what it takes to have the big jump.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, because the women making real money, a lot of times aren't even building the events. They're doing something much smarter, which is not really talked about a lot. And that is they're borrowing rooms that already exist. So we see this, obviously online, especially in Facebook groups, right? Like Taylor's been borrowing my audience for how many years now, Taylor? Like forever, right?
Forever, like longer than
Right.
yeah.
And you've done extremely well in Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs by borrowing my audience. I mean, you've gotten tons of clients and leads and all sorts of things. And
Yep.
so, but what's not really talked about, because we see that the model, which I believe I kind of created for Facebook groups back in like 2017,
Mhm.
but we don't see this model like as much or talked about as much in the in-person event space. Right. So this is something that we wanted to bring to you today because it is very, very powerful, is to go out and borrow those rooms and those audiences. So
100%. Yeah, people
yeah,
never think about it in the context of actually doing this for live events. And the biggest difference between doing this, for example, in a Facebook group, like my group or Christina's group, because we both have paid memberships that people can use to promote and borrow our audiences. The biggest difference is when you do it online, people still don't know you, right? So you're building the know, like, and trust, and it takes time and it works. Just like Christina has said, we've made more millions than we will admit here in that group. Okay. But so it works. But what the point is that when you're in person and you decide to use the same strategy, people are with you, they can see you, they can feel your energy, they can see how other people around them are reacting to you. They can see who else is on the stage. And all of that is the borrowed authority. And so now the know, like, and trust speeds up. So now instead of them needing to see 16 of your posts before they decide to jump into something, that one activation moment is enough to make them go, okay, I'm in.
Absolutely. It goes back to like, we'll say the old days before we had Zoom, before we were all online, when we used to go to networking events and we used to meet people in person. And it's all, like you said, the know, like, and trust factor of being and seeing somebody in front of you. And that became, after COVID, kind of rare for a while, but now everybody's back in force and wanting to be together again, and actually meet the people they're doing business with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And things just move faster that way. And, absolutely. And especially if people are coming to a space, and they're the right people who are positioned and in the market to do business, everything changes.
Oh yeah, so, absolutely. Absolutely. So, the move isn't to necessarily to build the room, but the shortcut is step into the room and be already positioned as that authority, on that stage. So I want to talk a little bit about something here because this could be a little controversial. Okay. There's some people who get very offended by the pay to play model, right? But I say this is a best kept secret because people do this all the time. Even in celebrities even do this. And that's like really not talked about, right? They're buying placements, they're buying places in magazines and media features, and people are buying access to other people's audiences, and it really, really does pay off. So they are, sponsoring events, but also speaking at events, and in a speaker sponsor type of capacity. And there's people who just do this as their business model, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because it puts them in a position that they otherwise would not have. Okay, so for example, when you go to an event and suddenly you see Coca-Cola or Sprite or, Microsoft or Meta on it, that's not by chance. That's a paid placement, right? They're smart enough to know that if they put their logos or sponsor in this way, and that they're now connected to this event or this organization that you're going to, that's going to build a faster know, like, and trust because you're already there. And now they like Coca-Cola or they like Meta. And now that's moving the ball. It's the same thing. We actually have a PR agency. Okay. And I will tell you that in working with the celebrities, there are a lot of things that you guys think are just things that just happen, but they're paid placements. They're paying to be put in a certain position, sit next to a certain person, speak on a certain stage, be in a certain magazine, because they know that that's part of business, and it puts them in a position to now later get other offers and other opportunities that monetize. Because at the end of the day, who cares? Do you think like the people I see here that Christina put the Super Bowl commercials, right? When you think about the millions of dollars that it costs for one 60-second Super Bowl commercial, do you think the people would do that if it didn't lead to direct revenue? Why would somebody spend millions of dollars and it not lead to revenue? They know that the pay to play means that they're going to pay to be put in that spot, and that's going to lead to revenue later. Direct correlation.
Absolutely. I mean, all of these things, brand deals with influencers, sponsorships, social media ads, magazines, Super Bowl commercials, you name it. Major companies who make, millions upon millions of dollars do this every single day. I mean, they paid to play. And then there's a misconception a lot with like a lot of coaches and women entrepreneurs and like, oh my gosh, I don't want to pay. Well, either you're going to build your own audience or you're going to pay to borrow someone else's. That's just the blunt truth. I mean, there's no getting around it. And that you're going to pay Meta for their audience. You're going to pay, the suit, whatever it is, company or who's built that influencer who's built the million followers. They are going to get, they're not going to give you their audience for free. Sorry. So this is some mindset issue that I see. And I think it's something that people have to realize that this is, because I've seen it on Facebook. People say, oh, I won't pay to be on that podcast. Oh my God, how dare the podcast person ask for the money? Well, the podcast person's built that podcast, built that YouTube channel, done all the work. You can do the same thing. You can spend the time and you can do exactly the same thing. And it may take you years years to get there, or you could take the shortcut. So that's basically something that I see that it's like you got to get your brain around. And when you do, you start thinking, well, yeah, God, that does make sense, and everybody does it. So it's a model that that if you strategically plan your marketing around, right, not haphazardly, to find the best opportunities, it can be extremely powerful for your business.
Yeah.
And this is something, Taylor, that I want to talk about also, is the invisible ROI of speaking on stages and being in other people's rooms. So Taylor, I'll let you talk a little bit about this first.
So I love this invisible ROI, this term, because most people are not thinking about it. And I feel like a lot of women entrepreneurs also kind of forget this because they're looking for the immediate gratification. You do something and you're saying, well, now, my course should be sold out, or, now my retreat should be filled up. And those things come, right? But in order for you to have that happen, there is some reverse engineering that has to be done. I have this conversation with clients all the time, people who are going from multi 6 figures to 7 figures, or 7 figures to 8 figures, whatever the jump is you want. The fastest way to get that jump is by building authority, okay, and credibility. And it's not that people don't like your offer. And it's not that, you're bad at what you do, but it is that nobody knows who the heck you are. Let's just be real. And they do know the other person's name more than you, because that person's spending money on ads, or that person's been in the business 20 years longer than you, or Tony Robbins is talking about this person, but nobody's ever heard of you. And you happen to be charging the same price that they're charging. And so when people are comparing, they're going to say, why would I spend money with you? You don't even have, more than 3 testimonials on your page. Why would I do this? But what's the difference? The difference is that the other people have the authority and they have the credibility backing them. And you know what? That nobody talks about? They don't talk about how long it took those people to build the authority and the credibility. And sometimes that's years on social media. Sometimes that's years of working with clients, etc. But there's a way to speed that up by being in places with others who already have the credibility, by being on stages and in activations where people trust the host of the event or the podcast or whoever invited you. And that immediately boosts your authority and credibility, and thus your trust, their trust in you, right? And so that's the invisible ROI. That's all the work that you don't necessarily see turn into dollars today, but is the same thing that's filling your mastermind tomorrow because you did all of that. And so sometimes the borrowed audiences are about building invisible ROI.
Yes. Anytime you can get on stage, I mean, look at another thing that I see people think, oh, I want to be a paid speaker, right? I don't speak for free or whatever. Well, I speak for free. I spoke at Funnel Hacking Live 9.5 for free, and I had 10,000 virtual people and hundreds in the room, right? That's Russell Brunson's event. And I've spoken at lots of events like that for free. But you know what happens with that is that you're not pitching, you're not selling anything, but there is this invisible ROI. People, they come up to you after, they're like, oh my gosh, you were, they'll watch a replay of it, or they'll come up right after you get off stage, and people will find you, they'll Google you, and they'll buy things from you without you doing anything. That's happened to me so many times from speaking on stage. It's like, you don't have to even do, a lot of these events say no selling. So you're not even selling anything. You're just giving value, and they're like loving what you're teaching them. And then boom, you've got, new customers and clients. And then the other thing is, if you're ever in a position where you can pitch on stage, I mean, I had studied Taylor, back when I first started. It's like, I've been in business now, it's my 20th year. So back 20 years ago, if you guys remember T. Harv Eker, remember him of, the $1 Million Mindset book. And he had all these, trainings, and I did something called Train the Trainer back then. And his company literally told you, any day you'd rather not be paid to speak because you're capped, as opposed to if you can sell from stage. Oh my gosh, like you speak for free and sell from stage, you're going to make so much money. That's an art in itself. So it's yeah, that's another mindset switch. I think a lot of women are saying, oh, I want, just want to be paid to speak. Well, that's more on the corporate side, and you'll be, yeah, you'll be capped on what you can make. But if you get an opportunity to get there and make an offer, well, now the sky's the limit, right? Right, Taylor? It's amazing how much more money you can make. The other thing is proximity here. This is really important because when you're in a room and you're on stage, right, with other people who are like A-list speakers, not only do you get to put, in your bio that you spoke on stage with, right? Like I did event back in, it was 2013, one of my events, and we had Les Brown, right? And I spoke on the stage, and so did Les Brown. So I can say I spoke with Les Brown, because that's totally legitimate, because I did. We were on the same event, same stage. So things like that then give you your borrowed credibility of that person, right? So that helps, especially when you're new, is like to jump you up to get considered for other people to invite you to events. And the people that you meet, turn into relationships. And then they may do a JV with you, or they may invite you to speak at their event. The whole point of this is you're building trust, credibility, and, like Taylor said, authority. So invisible ROI, instead of thinking, okay, I'm going to this event, I'm spending this much, how much money am I getting back tomorrow? It just doesn't work like that. There's people, again, buy from people they know, like, and trust, and have that credibility. So that is, the most important when you're speaking anywhere, is to understand.
100%. And to Christina's point about getting paid to speak. So I actually have a program that takes people through getting paid to speak. And so I'm very much in that world, and we get people booked out and everything. I will say that most people are saying, hey, I want to get paid to speak. They don't have any of the assets. They don't have any of the experience. They've never spoken on stage with people of the caliber who get paid to speak, and they're wanting these things. So another smart thing is, if you do want to get paid to speak, is by reverse engineering, borrowing the proximity, being put on stages, etc., with people, using that material to then pitch yourself to get paid to speak, not the other way around. I want to mention, before we go on any further, something that somebody said in the audience, which I think is important, and I want to kind of just quickly hit on this. And Tammy says she's fine with paying to play, but she doesn't like it if, people don't have solid numbers, or like a solid audience, or if it's just their business model. Well, that's like anything, right? That's kind of like a business coach or a trainer or whatever, any place that we spend our money. I mean, you've got to know that it's a legitimate source. But if the people clearly have a bigger audience than you, that's been around for way longer than you might have been in business, right? And they've repeatedly put on events, or they can move the masses. That's a clear signal that, okay, these people have got more than I've got going on in terms of numbers. It would make sense then to jump in and be a part of something there, right? And, everybody has to decide, right? For example, there are people who ask me to come and speak at events, and the audience is clearly not my audience. So to your point, Tammy, like, who's the audience? They're not my audience. They're not going to buy my programs because I don't serve those people. Then that's a waste of my time. I wouldn't pay to play with them, and I wouldn't even go speak to their audience for free. So you've got to figure out who's the audience, what are the details, and do your, diligence, and then jump in if it makes sense.
That's a great point. Tammy, it's a very, very good point, because there is not yet right fit audiences. You do have to do your due diligence and make sure that you, like Taylor said, you're getting in front of the right audience. And that when you're finding events that you're seeing, that these people do have credibility, that they're bringing the right people in the room. But then it's up to you, when you're there, to build, those relationships to when take full advantage. Like, even if you were in a room, let's say, with the wrong audience, and you were able to get the assets, right? You'd have like a month of content to put on your social media, then it could still be worthwhile. There's people, I find, they don't use the opportunities. So I'll give you an example. My friend Becca Duncan, she's sweet. She's an influencer on Instagram. You may know her. She spoke at our event in Hollywood, and Becca is a master at just reusing every bit of content like everywhere for her social media. She's still using from November. She's got her stage moments. I had her on my show. Like she just knows like how to reuse it and like just have it everywhere. And it gives her massive credibility because she's constantly reusing those clips, with different, like, not even with talking, just showing on stage, putting the text on top. So if you ever run into a situation like that, worst comes to, you make sure you have all that footage. It's really important, but do your due diligence. Absolutely. It's really important. And Tammy, you did train the trainer too. Yes. I loved it. Right. T Harv sold that company, right. Years ago, but it's really, really great. But yeah, so where do you find events to borrow? Right? That's our next question. And, there's the typical places like Eventbrite, Facebook events, groups, Facebook groups. But I found 2 other places, which is interesting, whether you're having an event or looking for other events, is sponsormyevent.com. And there's also Sponsor Pitch. So you guys can jot that down because I was doing a little search and I'm like, okay, that's really interesting. So, you can look around and see that there's other, places if you're really looking. And of course, make sure you're dealing with credible people.
Right.
So Taylor, you want to take this away and talk a little bit about the Borrowed Event Authority Stack?
Yeah. So the Borrowed Event Authority Stack, there's so many ways once you get on an event. Once you take part in an event that's already being hosted, to be able to get invisible ROI or immediate ROI, right? So the 2 important things. One of them is having the borrowed stage, right? So it's not that you need a long time to speak. It's that you need just a few minutes to be able to speak, to explain what you do, who you help, and tell them what the next step is. And I'll tell you, every time that I'm on a stage, it's the day that I speak, people know, what I do, who I help, what, the next steps are. I can't even make it to the ladies' room for the next 3 days without people hunting me down to ask questions about the offer or what I do or what it worked for them. So that borrowed stage is really just a little signal to the room. Hey, I'm here. I'm a trusted authority. They trust me because they put me on stage. I'm in the literature. I'm in the, I'm in the directory. I'm in all the things. And here's what I do. Here's who I help. And here's your next step. That's all you need. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely, once you're listed as speaker on that stage, it's the same thing when like you have a book. Now you're an author. Oh, now you're a speaker. It's like immediately people are going to want to talk to you and you're going to up level. It's very powerful. So if you even had 7 minutes featured on stage, right? That is because we're in the social media world where people 60-second, is a lot on Reels, and you have that story framework value, and you're just purely positioning yourself and being a trust builder. It's extremely powerful. What are your thoughts about 7 minutes, Taylor?
Well, 7 minutes is interesting because I go to a lot of conferences. I speak at a lot of conferences. And if you're being really honest, if somebody's talking for a long time, you start shifting in your seat. They start not paying attention. They're looking at the phone. They now want to go to the ladies' room or the men's room. They want to figure out, when is this over? Not because you're bad at speaking, but because people don't have that kind of attention span. We're not trained like that anymore. Remember, we've been living on social media since the pandemic. And even before then. So it's got to be activating. And to me, it's like a 7-minute on stage moment is a little bit like dating or something, right? You don't tell your whole life story on the date, right? You tell a little bit about yourself so that there's intrigue. And then they want to ask you on the next date. Well, it's the same thing with speaking. You tell a little bit about what you do, who you help, what the next steps are. And then they're going to ask questions. Does this work for me? How does this work? That opens up the conversation to really tailor the rest of what you have to say about your business specifically to them. And it creates a higher likelihood of a close.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's enough time to really build that credibility and attract the premium buyers that you're looking for. So let's talk about some borrowed proof, Taylor. Authority isn't just the moment, so it's something you can reuse forever, right? So what is your take on this?
You know, I will go to this. You just said something that sparked a little something for me. Who here in the audience sells a premium offer? Let's say you sell an offer that's 5K or more. How many of you have an offer that's 5K or more, or would like to create an offer and sell it for more than 5K? How many of you? Play with us in the chat. Tell us. So Christina just said something really, really interesting. And it made the light bulb go off in my head here. Here's something that I know about premium buyers. We all want premium buyers, right? Like that's all we work with at this point in time in business. Premium buyers. They're delightful to work with. They pay on time. Everything's great. And it's fantastic, right? So if we all want premium buyers have what? They have money, but they don't have what? They don't have a lot of time. And so you know what that means? That means that you can get to speak on stage, and somebody might give you an option to speak for an hour on stage, right? And does a premium buyer, and in that hour, you can give all of your teaching frameworks and all the things. Does a premium buyer actually want to do it all right there, right then by themselves? Yes or no? A premium buyer does not. A premium buyer wants you to get to the point. They want you to tell them how you can help them. They want to make a transaction so you can do it for them, or you guys can do it together at a later time. They are not wanting to take 50,000 notes and implement the whole thing. That's how you lose the sale. And in fact, if you give away too much information, what are they going to do? They're going to try to figure out if they can implement it themselves. But if you give them a short amount of information, there's nothing for them to figure out. Only question is, what's the next step? So to Christina's point, the 7-minute framework works particularly well for a premium buyer. So does that a light bulb moment for anybody in the audience? Give us light bulb if it is. So number 2 is borrowed proof, right? You might think, okay, I'm going to speak at this speaking engagement. I'm going to be here. I'm going to do this. All of these things are just a moment in time. They'll be over, before you blink, right? But the key here is not that moment per se. It's the fact that you can use that as authority forever. We've been in Forbes and Business Insider and GQ. We speak and we do events and influencer events at Coachella. And like last year, we were on the same stage as Shaboozey, right? With the bar song, right? Those are things that we get to use all the time forever. And it's those things that make people say, I'm going to work with them. I want to work with them. This is what we can use those clips. We can use the as seen on. We can use all these things forever. Nobody can take it away. So it's kind of like education, right? If you get a degree from somewhere. So a lot of you who are on that know me know, I went to law school. I've got a law degree, a very expensive law degree that I don't use, right? It's not the point that I have that. It wasn't the time that I walked across the stage. It's that's always a calling card for me to use. You understand? It's not about that moment that I walked across the stage or those 3 years of taking the class. No one cares. It's the fact that I have that. Yes. And so it's the same for you, the borrowed proof. So now, if you get to say, for instance, that you were as seen on Apple TV or as seen on Binge TV or Roku or as seen in this magazine, for example, those are things that you get to use and you get to take those with you. And the borrowed proof means that they might not know you, Connie. They might not know you, Michelle. They might not know you, Angelina, but who they know is they know Apple TV. And they say, if Apple TV would have Connie on, then that's all I need to know. Because the other person I was comparing Connie with, they don't have Apple TV. They just have some testimonials with blurred out faces for the screenshots. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
So powerful, Taylor, what you're saying, because also too, always remember, if you do an event and there's anybody, any celebrity or just well-known person there, you get the photo, right? And that's what this positions to. You get photos with these players, right? Who have large audiences. It is instant borrowed credibility. And you can even use photos like that for ads. I mean, so like I have photos with Russell Brunson, with Myron Golden, right? these types of photos are extremely valuable. So like this is, again, we're going back to that like the proof, but also that invisible ROI. Like one photo like that can change a client's mind. Like, okay, well, if they know this person, and I like that person, okay, I think I'll spend higher ticket with them. It's like all these little touch points really, really add up, because what do we do first, right? When we see someone we don't know, we go into
Mhm.
Google, and then the worst thing that can happen is we see that their name like barely comes up. And then when it does come up, they go to maybe Facebook, and now there's like pictures of flowers on the background, right? And there's nothing about them. There's no website. There's nowhere to check them. And then you're just like, okay, no, done. As opposed to, okay, their name.com comes up, click on it. Oh, they spoke here. They're with this person. They've got that logo. Like Taylor was saying, boom. It's like, this is such a missing piece that people do not realize that's hurting their business so badly, that they don't realize that you have to build
Mhm.
this credibility, especially now, because we're not in 2020 anymore, right? It's not the Wild West of 2020 when everybody jumped online and people just spending money like water. We've got a different economy. We have a different world. People are more discerning of where they're going to spend their money. I'm sure you are, right? How many people really think twice before spending any plane ticket, right?
A
We all
hundred
do.
percent. 100%.
I because I got like burnt a couple of times over the years too. It's
Oh
like you
yeah.
pay for something, you don't get the thing, and it's like you're like, okay, wait a second, now I'm going to think about this first before leaping, right? And so that's so important that you build this up, your media, getting those logos, getting all of this. It just does wonders. You'll see a big shift in how your conversion rates when you can position yourself correctly like this, and by borrowing other audiences and getting on their stages and getting all those assets and having that sizzle reel, whatever you're going to have, those photos. It's really, really, really powerful. I get like passionate about this because it's like one of my pet peeves when I see that when I go to Google somebody, I'm like, no, where's their credibility, right?
A
And they're
hundred.
great people too, and that's what nobody's going to know about it though. Unfortunately, this is the kind of the world we're in, and especially
Right.
now for 26 and beyond.
Right.
So,
100%.
okay. Yeah. It's crazy. So, what it looks like, streaming, distribution, you keep the footage. So, Taylor, I'm going to let you jump into this part.
So, as we're talking about being able to borrow our live event, and we're getting to that, we're kind of sharing some pieces with you. One of the things that we are going to be doing is that we'll be having the event streamed, and it will be distributed through Binge TV, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, Fire, so on and so forth, and 100 plus other distribution channels. But those are the names that we all know and love, right? And so you will be able to use as seen on as a credibility marker from that point on, because you will be having streamed on that event. In addition to that, you'll be getting footage that you get to keep, that shows you on stage, that shows the audience interacting with you. Okay. So that you can have a sizzle reel. So for those of you who are like, I want to get paid to speak this time. Okay. Well, let's get the footage and the assets so that you can present like a professional speaker that gets paid to speak. Right. So for instance, I have a sizzle reel. Okay. It was, what was it? It was like over $5,000 to make that sizzle reel. Okay. And it was taken over a series of years. That's how we get paid to speak, because we did that. So you can now have your own sizzle reel professionally edited by the same team and be able to use that to create more authority for yourself. So that becomes an important piece. And to Christina's point, this footage, there are endless amounts of things that you could do with this footage. One of our clients, I think I can say this, but one of our clients, Jen, she does ads. Okay. She's incredible. She also does ads for one of the biggest names in female entrepreneurship, Amy Porterfield. How many of you guys know that? So we did an ad where we were talking about the amount of money that she made for Amy Porterfield. We had Amy pop up on it. She's now acquiring customers, paying her $20,000 for $1.80 per lead. just because she took that clip of her speaking. And Amy, imagine what this can be like if you can take a clip of yourself with some of the biggest names in business, entrepreneurship, etc., on the same stage and use it as an ad or as organic social media.
Wow. Yeah, that's it's yes. Yeah. So think about it. So because once you're labeled speaker, right, then you get access to like, speaker lunch and wherever you're speaking at, but you get into you're in a different level. And like you could even just filming, because you'll compliment, all speakers always compliment each other, right? And just say, wow, you were amazing on stage. So imagine there's somebody very high authority and say, can I just film this? And they say, you know what, you were fantastic. I love it. 2 seconds of that, a couple of 30 seconds of it. You've got right there. Boom. You've got the same thing, immense credibility. But you don't get into the rooms and you don't get the proximity or access unless you're at the same playing field of these people, and the relationships you make. I'll give you an example. Back in 2019, ManyChat, everybody knows what ManyChat software is, right? They asked me to speak at their event in Austin as to interview the women of tech on stage, which was really interesting. So now, back then, I didn't know these people. Some of the women who were on stage that I interviewed, Rachel Miller, who's a friend of mine, Molly Mahoney's now a friend of mine, right? These were women who later, I would never know, become friends. And I got to meet Mary Smith in the speaker lounge, and another person I keep in contact. I love her. And so the other person too that I met was one of the other speakers, Matt Lights, who from Bot Builders. And we joint ventured. So we were just chatting and we ended up joint venturing. I can't tell you how much money I've made from Matt. Literally, we're going to do another one. Like every year we do something together since 2019. And he's a master. So that was just because I was there on that stage, right? And had access to those people. So if you can get access like that, my gosh, look at that. Just one event. It's crazy.
It's about the collaborations and the access that you never get. Right. And yeah, it's incredible.
So this is exactly what we were just talking about, right? The conversations. I'll skip this one because we literally just said this, and it's so powerful. So any events that you're at as a speaker, leverage it. Don't miss those opportunities to get to know everybody there. So this is more, I'm going to let Taylor take over this one, because now we're talking a little bit about the event. Let's tell them a little bit about the event that we are having in March.
Yeah. So we've got amazing. So we have an event that's happening in March. It's March 24th, 25th, and 26th, right? So that's or I should say, those are the days of the event. And what we've got going on is at this event, we are hosting it in Miami. So there are opportunities to borrow our audience and be a part of it as a virtual participant, but we highly recommend, if there's a way for you to do it, to come in as an in-person participant. And so we've got this incredible event with some of the biggest names in entrepreneurship and business that don't always come to speak at events curated specifically for female entrepreneurs, right? And so we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. And Christina and I collectively have about 2 million plus people in our audiences. Christina has been in business for 20 years. I've been in business for 19, 20 years myself, right? So you're taking all the stuff that we've done and we're bringing people together in person. So in person, people are buying tickets, and we've got a virtual audience that are buying tickets. Okay. And they are going to be learning from our speakers. And so we're granting you an opportunity to come in and to be a speaker at our event. Okay. And there are different stages that you can come in on, but the stage that we're specifically talking about is our VIP presenter stage. And one of the special features of this is not only do you get 7 minutes on the main stage, not only do you get all your footage, not only do you get to borrow the audience, but on day 3, we are letting you host a workshop. So now this is not you talking at the people, this is you working with them so that they can see how you work as an expert and as a coach. So they're taste testing, they're sampling you. And if you're good, which I know you are, that will inevitably inevitably lead to them purchasing with you. Okay, if you know what you're doing. Now, what becomes really interesting is that Christina and I, the way that we postured this event is that as people are buying tickets, we're able to survey them and find out information. And so we are doing something called match and monetize, which means that we are identifying our ticket holders' main pain points and we are matching them with our speakers. So on day 3, let's say you help people build funnels and people are needing more leads in their business. Fantastic. Well, on day 3, we're going to take those people that need leads and put them at your workshop around building funnels. This is a match made in heaven. So back to the point of, well, what if the audience and it's not the right audience? We're guaranteeing you that you have the right audience, right? And so you're going to be able to be with them on day 3, teach them in a more intimate capacity and move them, right? Whether that's into your funnel, into your business, with what your offers are, whatever. So that's what this looks like. So not only does everybody see you on the main stage, okay, but they need you and they're going to be able to work with you now in a workshop capacity.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So the and match and monetize for this event even goes beyond just this third day. So this is a new part of the Stand Out Online membership where we have AI software which literally matches people, and we're going to use that for this event for everyone actually to encourage JV swaps, like doing JV events, email swaps, partnerships. The AI by audience size, by interest will match you, which is incredible. So this event is going to be very, very different than anything anybody's ever experienced. I mean, each speaker is going to be teaching a framework that gets done in real time, because we go to events, right? How many people have done this? And yeah, everything's great. You're taking millions of notes in a book and then you're all excited and it's like a fire hose of information. You come back, even if you pick your 3 things that you want to do them all, right? And then you get caught in regular life and then that book just stays there, that work, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't implement anything. We don't want that. We want in the room implementation. So that's what speakers are going to be doing. And then they're going to come into your world from that step after. So that's what's really exciting about all of this, that we're like super excited about, because it's going to be just a very different curated type of event in general. So, so just moving on with this, right? So the economics of this, right? So, most people will attend events and they just hope they're going to get a return on investment. This is different, okay? Because this particular model that we're talking about, that we are offering here, and there's a very limited amount too, because this room can only hold 100 people in person. We're going to have people on the virtual people, and then also the live stream audience that's going out to millions on the cable. But even the people virtually who are attending are going to be participating and have the Zoom rooms and all that stuff and facilitated. But this is going to be different for the people who have become a featured VIP presenter, because you're going to have 6 curated seats that you can actually monetize. So Taylor, you want to tell them a little bit about this?
So not only are you going to get to, hey, Michelle, hang on here. We'll try to make sure that you can hear the call to action here, and it'll be good. And there's a limited number of seats. So try to hang on for a second. But here's the deal, everybody. What's going to happen is not only do you get to speak on stage and borrow the audience and all of these things, if you're an ROI forward thinking person, and of course you keep all the money that you make from the event, from selling on stage, etc., right? That's yours. There's no revenue share. So that's, first of all, thumbs up. Give us thumbs up in the chat for that. Now, another way that you can make your money back is this. We're going to give you 6 curated seats that you can monetize, meaning 6 seats to this event where you can invite people to attend the event, okay, with you, and you can sell these seats. If you want to, you can sell the seats. If you want to, and you've got an offer that you're selling right now, you can add the seat as a bonus to get people to quickly purchase and to jump in. Maybe you've got stellar clients. So I've got like what I call my A-list VIP clients, right? So they travel the world with us. They come to Paris, they come to Dubai, they come to all the things. Those are people who I would just give a ticket to. And it's the fact that I give them the ticket and it's another chance for us to be in close proximity together for 3 days that nurtures the relationship without me asking anything of them, that builds the relationship and they become clients. They continue to be clients forevermore, right? If you are looking to do business with someone, so if I had a ticket to an event, I might say, hey, Christina, I'm going to this event. Let's check this out together. We might be able to partner on something. That's an opportunity. Okay. And it creates a premium level of proximity. So we've got some people who are buying tickets and they're going to sell the tickets. They might sell them for $1,500. So then they just sell a few of them. And now they've already made their investment back before they come. And now they start speaking and everything else that they make is on top of it. So here's the math, right? 6 seats. If you sell them for $2,000, you've made $12K. You've now made a profit. 6 seats, $1,750. You sold them and now it's $10,500. You've still made a profit. Okay. So the investment is, and I guess Christina will get to it. So the idea here is that you can have all your money paid back before your workshop, before you come to Miami, before you get here. But the truth is you're going to make more money than you can imagine from the partnerships, from the connections, from the assets, from using As Seen On, from being featured as an authority, from the pictures you take with the big names, from sharing the stage with them, right? So you can choose your angle. I'll let you go, Christina.
So yeah, so you can choose how to use these seats, and we're actually going to be doing something really cool too. So we're going to be adding, right, Taylor, we're going to be adding an additional 2 seats to this. So this will give even more opportunity. For the people who jump on today, we're going to be giving you 2 additional, so it'll be 8 seats that you'll be able to sell. But you can make this a VIP day with you. So you can add on, like, say you're going to have the next day, you're going to do a 2-hour intensive with them, right? And you can charge whatever you want for the whole package. It could be a mastermind meetup. It could be your collaboration hub, or just like Taylor said, a client experience. So seats aren't tickets. Seats are your leverage. And yeah, why this works. Again, we're talking about this. You're showing up as the authority, not an attendee. You've got the built-in credibility. You've got the outcomes, the stage, the proof, proximity, the economics. Like, where can you get something like this that you could actually just pay? It'll pay for itself before the event even started. Like, you can actually make your money back, which is amazing. And this is going to help you, create your premium contacts that will close those premium clients that you really want faster. So Taylor, do you want to take it from here?
Yep. And so everybody hang on here, because we're going to give you a special bonus. We'll give you the call to action. So hang tight. Who is this for? If you're somebody right now, you've got an offer or you want to put together an offer, you know that this is your year. 2026 is your year. You're going to blow up. You're going to get an opportunity to speak on stages. People are going to want you to speak on stages all over the world. You know that you're going to be having a wait list for your courses, your offers, your retreats. This is the time. If you're somebody like myself, and I probably like Christina, and you want things to move fast, you don't need to wait until you get more followers. You don't need to wait to get discovered. You don't need a bigger brand. You just need to be in the right room. We've curated the room. We've done the hard work for the past 20 years, right? We've built the audiences. We're paying for the event. We are doing all of the things. All you've got to do is show up, be the expert in what you do, have an offer, and look pretty, right? Take the pictures, get on TV, use these assets, and pump them out. So here's what we've got, because I know somebody has to leave at the top of the hour. Here's the deal. You can join us today. We've got an incredible payment plan that we're offering today, right? So if you pay in full, it's $9,997. But you can join us today, get to speak on the stage, get to have your workshop, get to be featured on Apple and Roku, all of the places. And you can put down $5,500 today and secure your table. That simple, right? And then you'll make a payment, one payment before the event, and you'll make a third payment after the event. That simple. Okay. That's how much we believe in this room, and know that once you get here, magic is going to happen. So that's why we have this payment plan option. So all you've got to do is believe in yourself enough to jump in. How do you apply? I've just put the link inside the chat. Apply for your speaker spot there. Okay. You're going to have a quick connection call. We'll be able to see what is the topic that you want to speak on. Okay. What's the offer that you want to provide? Okay. And if you do that, we are going to be doing category exclusions. We are not going to have multiple people at round tables speaking about the same thing. We are businesswomen. We want the stage to be protected for you. So what you're speaking about, the next person's not going to be speaking about it. So this is why not only do you get this incredible discount right now, but you also want to jump in while you have an opportunity to have category exclusion. Okay.
Yeah. There's a limited, obviously, because we, if you do the math in the room and you're going to be bringing people, we can't have more than a certain amount of these. And we already have some taken already. So there's only a few opportunities left for this. And just to leave you with this, okay, because this has got me thinking a lot. Like I mentioned before that, I spoke at the Funnel Hacking Live 9.5. I also was on Russell Brunson's podcast. But when I think back, how did I get those things? It was because I joined Russell Brunson's inner circle for $50,000 a year. I've been for 4 years. So I spent over $200,000, right? But because I was in the room, I got chosen for those things, right? And then Russell had me speak last summer at his Prime Mover event. So they keep coming. And those opportunities just opened so many more doors, where then I was invited to speak at WebinarCon and invited to speak other places, right? So I invested. This is like a no-brainer. You're not paying $50,000, right? This is like you're paying less than $10,000. This is getting a lot. So if you're considering this, I would say that it's something that will be amazing for your business. And book the call with Taylor, and she'll, go over everything else with you. But yeah, it's definitely the shortcut to success when you can take advantage and borrow other people's audiences.
And I'm going to bring up something else that becomes a bonus for why to act now. So first of all, you want to act now because you can put down $5,000. Okay. And by putting down the $5,000, your spot's secured, your category placement is secured. Then you can do the payment plan for the rest. In addition to that, there is Sezzle, there's Klarna, there's PayPal Buy Now, Pay Later to even pay that first $5,000, which makes this kind of a no-brainer, right? If you have that access, right? So then that becomes the piece. You also get 2 additional tickets, okay? Which means that you can sell these tickets, or you can invite people who are on the fence about working with you, bring them to this event, connect with you for the 3 days, and close them. And now have all that pay for this as you're getting speaking time, assets, all of these things. Something else that I wanted to bring up to everybody is this. Sometimes people have a little bit of imposter syndrome, and they're thinking, well, I finally have this opportunity, but I'm not ready to speak on stage yet. I'm not ready to host a workshop. Well, you happen to be speaking to someone who's hosted over 2,500 workshops over the last 10 years. Okay, so what's going to happen is that when you join us, there are going to be sessions where we will help you figure out how to present your offer, maybe the best positioning of the offer, how to speak on stage, best do's and don'ts. Remember, these are our audience members. We know them better than anybody. So we're going to give you the inside scoop on the best positioning, and we're going to be teaching you. So when you join now, you also get 2 trainings, 2 sessions where we'll teach you these things. Okay, so the link is inside the chat. I would run to this, not walk to it, because it's truly a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yes. I hope you guys will join us. Again, we're in Miami. It's at a studio that holds 100 people with the big, LED wall in back of us. And it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're excited. And so we hope to see you in Miami.
Absolutely. And you want to jump in now, because as the names of our big A-list headline speakers start to get dropped, prices do increase, right? And not only that, you don't necessarily have your category placement, and now you have to possibly speak about a topic that's not your first choice. So things to think about.
So great, great. Well, I know everybody's got to run. So it's so wonderful seeing you. Thank you for spending the last hour with us. I hope you guys have a great day, and we hope to see you in Miami.
Okay, we'll see you
Bye.
later. Bye for now.
Bye.